Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Woo Woo Room. As promised to myself and to you, we are going to talk about more retrograde energy today. I'm going to read some of these notes that I took, and I might pull a few cards so that we can be as well informed about this as possible. We just gonna go ahead and jump right in because the baby got her foot propped up. I had surgery recently and I gotta just do everything I can to stay comfortable. So we're gonna jump right in to some of these downloads. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope everybody is integrating these lessons that we've been learning over the past 10 years. I hope that, we're encouraged, even though with retrograde energy, oftentimes, it is a time where shit's been the block. It's a time where we're given the opportunity to integrate a lesson through changed behavior, okay? So we're going to talk about Saturn retrograde. This is a transit that is happening from June 30th to November 15th of the year of our Lord 2024. Okay. Now, I'm reading from my notes here, and I have quite a few things. So the first thing is that Saturn retrograde is taking place in Pisces, right? It's a meaning of a very earthy, grounded energy and a very spiritual, esoteric, very abstract, subconscious, intangible energy. Okay, so when we talk about Saturn, this is a planet of karma. This is a planet of discipline. This is a planet of do what you need to do, or you're going to learn the hard way. A hard head makes a soft ass. This is a very patriarchal, fatherly type of energy. It's an energy that stands on business. It's ruled by it rolls over the sign of Capricorn. Think about the Capricorns okay? Not saying that all Capricorns are the same, but we do see general characteristics. We see someone who can be ambitious. We see someone who is a self-starter. We see someone who prefers, to go it alone and sometimes take the most difficult path to success. We see a lot of self-proclaimed, self-made people. We see a lot of business moguls, people who are, workaholics or just very focused in their career in this life. I will say that Capricorns do love to party, but they work hard so they can play hard. Amen. So getting back to these notes, right? We're talking about spiritual mastery. This is an opportunity to cement some lessons that we've been learning for the past 10 years, okay? Pisces deals with isolation and institutions. So if you've been to jail, if you know someone who's in jail right now, if you have been in the hospital or, unfortunately or fortunately, who knows, in a psych ward, places where we don't get a lot of visitors, places where there's, we're kind of confined to one space. I'm kind of like getting this visual of not having a lot of wiggle room, or it's not a very free time where we're spreading our wings. Like finances might be tight right now. We might be low on energy where we're really having to focus in a certain area and really master this and establish a sense of stability before we can come out and play and have fun. Okay. I know personally for myself, my Saturn return, I'm having it right now. And my Saturn is obviously in Pisces. It's in my 8th house. 8th house is Scorpio, rolls over surgery, transformations, things like that. I just had foot surgery and Pisces rolls over the feet. So, I haven't had a lot of contact with the outside world. Like my mom is here, thank God, love her, kind of taking care of me. But I've been, I've had things going on where I just, this is not a time to have a bunch of people in my house. It's not a time to really be having a lot of company right now. It's a time for me to rest and recover get my house in order, you know, be creative and not just sit on the couch and waste away, but like to actually, you know, focus on this and focus on, you know, music and the other things that make me happy. I will also say I want to talk a little bit about isolation, right? So some lessons we need to learn alone. There are some things that we need to integrate in community with other people, and then there are some things that we need to integrate on our own. Sometimes spirit will isolate you so that you can heal, repair, enhance, and strengthen your relationship to your intuition. Okay. Sometimes to heal, repair, strengthen your relationship with spirit itself. So understanding how spirit communicates with you as an individual. There sometimes with Pisces, we see a lot of codependency and escapism. And sometimes we need to be isolated so that we learn how to solve a problem on our own instead of, you know, bringing everybody else into our business all the time and you know, being codependent in our relationships. Sometimes we need to learn how to stand on our own 2 feet, you know, and know that, because Pisces kind of rules like this, I am one with the universe. So like if I am one with the universe, then I know that I have my support system, but also within myself, I know that I am capable because I am one with the universe. This curl is like, it kind of looks like crooked. Is there, anyway. I didn't come here to be cute. I came here to educate. So I was in a TikTok the other day, or this now was like last week. And a topic that was brought up was isolation. And one gentleman was raising the question, you know, why women are always saying, go heal, go work on yourself. And he was questioning why men can't heal with their women and why women can't heal men. And there are some lessons and experiences in life that need to be processed in solitude, okay? Sometimes spirit has to isolate us so that we can heal those codependent tendencies. Something I already touched on. Let me see here. Pisces. Okay, Pisces in its lower expression embodies escapism and avoidance. The different placements in your chart, houses, planets, aspects can, you know, give you a lot of insight and detail as far as how you know, escape and try to avoid reality. Let me turn this light on. Okay. This is getting dark in here. I don't know if y'all can see me. Yeah, that's better. It was getting a little dark. I find that I'm most inspired at night. I was also born at night. I have like a night chart. And I'm ruled by the moon, baby. So I just feel like my creative juices and my flow comes to me out like after the day. I don't like making content in the morning. Okay, so seasons of isolation are really important and pivotal as the next sign is Aries, a trailblazing sign where we come into a new understanding of self that influences our perception of ourselves and how we show up in relationships. If you have strong mutable energy or cardinal energy, you might be feeling this energy in a very intense way right now. You know, if you guys are here, you're probably already familiar with retrogrades, or if I'm assisting someone through their awakening, hi, I'm honored. Retrogrades are a time where shit be spinning a block, but it's not because you're going to be dealing with that for the rest of your life if you handle it well. It's because it's an opportunity for you to cement new habits and behavior, for you to wrap up old things, old situations, karmic cycles, ways of thinking, behaving, believing, perceiving, and being. Okay. So retrograde is also a time to look inward and address ourselves about some things too. So I've had some situations come up for me that I've dealt with in the past during Neptune retrogrades. And typically my energy when I'm dealing with this particular thing can get very, very like all over the place. I'm frantic, I'm stressed out, I'm freaking out. Like, but this time I have made a resolution with myself and a commitment with myself to remain emotionally grounded, to pray every morning, to give my anxieties over to God, to look for the opportunity and the blessings in every challenge and situation, because perspective matters. Perspective in the way that we look at things influences our reality. So if something comes into your space that is something that you don't prefer, and you freak out and you stress and you're all frantic about it, that is you're emitting that frequency into the universe, and that is what you're going to continue to attract. So this is an opportunity for us to, there might be some deep-seated, I'm feeling like subconscious fears. I know I've been dealing with, something that is a deep-seated fear for me, and I am choosing to navigate it with a sense of peace and confidence and a determination to focus on the best possible scenario unfolding, because just as much of a chance that things have of not working out and being all fucked up, they have just as much of a chance of being amazing and working out in our favor, right? Okay, so that's the downloads. We're at 11 minutes. I'm making good time. I'm going to do some reading. I like to use one of my favorite decks, the Star Codes Astro Oracle, that my best friend gifted me for my birthday. Shout out to my baby. And I'm going to use the Rider-Waite deck to clarify, okay? I'm going to pray first, and then we're going to get into it. Don't skip the prayer. Don't skip the prayer. You can skip over all the downloads if you want to, but do not skip my prayer. If you're going to come in here and you're going to listen to my readings, you need to hear the prayer too. Thank you, God, Universe, Spirit, Source, Creator, Eternal One, for this day. Thank you for putting the fresh breath of life in our lungs. Thank you for peace that surpasses all understanding, for every challenge and tribulation, for every valley that we walk through, every season of shadow work and deep, intense healing. Thank you for the uncomfortable situations, for they strengthen us. They shape us in ways that are beautiful and profound. They elevate our ability to understand and have faith that things will work out in our favor, that everything is for our ultimate good. Right now, God, I ask that you would create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me. Prepare my vessel to be a receptor and a transmitter, a clear receptor and transmitter of the messages that you deem worthy to be communicated through my vessel at this time. Right now, I ask that Spirit would communicate to and through me clearly and concisely those messages surrounding the current Saturn retrograde transit we are experiencing as a collective. Help me to see without my eyes and hear without my ears. Also cast a circle of protection, fiery hedge from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, and around all of those who fall under the sound of my voice at any given point in time, from north, south, east, west, and every space they're in and every space they're out. I claim in state and power and authority that no evil energy, entity, vibration, or being is permitted in or around the space at this time. If anything attempts to approach or enter, will be deflected immediately and cast back upon the sender 1,000-fold. I'm grateful for our covering, immunity, and protection. Spirit, we give thanks for your love, guidance, strength, support, for access to clean water, heat, food, clothing, shelter, for community, for our gifts, our inheritance as we are to inherit this earth. We acknowledge that and we acknowledge you. So glory be unto the Most High, to the ancestors, guides, spirits, angels, beings that are moving on our behalf in the ethers to give us present help. And glory be unto ourselves in our fullness and totality. May we not only reach but express our most full, unique, holy, righteous, powerful potential, both now and forevermore. I open this reading with protection first and foremost in every direction, with discernment, wisdom, love, clarity, peace, gratitude, and a spirit of giving. I give from my heart with joy and gladness. I say Ashe and I say amen. All right, boom. We are 15 minutes in and I did downloads and I already prayed. That's amazing. Okay, so let's talk about Saturn retrograde. We are integrating lessons. Retrograde is for integration. We retrograde to integrate. We retrograde to integrate. If you know better, do better. If you know better, do better. Let me get a clean shot. Mars, motion. Which I think is interesting because Aries act. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I think that's interesting, Vesta, Hearth, because, and Chiron, heel on the bottom. I think that's interesting that we got Mars and Aries because I was picking up on the fact that, or like this energy that signified to me that we don't have a lot of wiggle room right now. We don't have a lot of like, this isn't a time where we're being super social. It's like a time where we're really, really focused, where we're really isolated, and we are addressing some things. We are focused on moving something to a new level. We are focused on our next steps because we've just made a really big pivot in a different direction. I think it's really interesting that we have these Mars and Aries cards. I like to use my book because when I hear people say, I don't like when readers use their book. Sometimes I use my book and sometimes I don't. Like there's sometimes in a reading where I just sit here and channel, and then there's sometimes in a reading where I'll look at the book, and then through the book, I get things. I'll get little messages and whatnot. So the first card we're going to talk about is Aries. Aries. Okay. Aries, act. Aries asks you to remember your personal fire, your reasons for being alive. It pumps up the volume on your life force. Its energy is raw, exhilarated, direct, rude, passionate, and looking for a challenge. Use your wisdom to focus this raw power and give it a goal. Aries is the cardinal fire sign whose fresh, brash enthusiasm is symbolized by a headstrong ram. This rules the head and imbues initiation, new beginnings, spontaneity, rebellion, and rebirth. The sun shines here, March 20th through April 20th. Action. Begin to move into new territory. Cut to the chase. Be a hero. Feel the call to action and thoughtfully respond. Clear the air and clear the decks. Be crisp and to the point. Shoot from the hip. Set healthy boundaries just by being vibrantly alive. Express affection enthusiastically, spontaneously, and passionately. Work in short, intense bursts rather than long periods of deep concentration. So I think, oh, did y'all hear that? That was so delicious. So I'm getting something with that. Work in short, intense bursts rather than long periods of deep concentration. And also we have the Chiron card here, which is heal. We can't be hyper focused on healing all the time. Aries is also a very childlike, playful energy, and we're being encouraged here to have a little bit of balance, okay? you put forth some energy toward a goal and then you leave it alone. Like the other day, I'm actually writing some music right now, and I had to reach out to my producer friend, and I'm like, what do you do when you can't come up with something, or like you feel a little bit stumped? He was like, go for a walk, get some fresh air, play a game, take a break and then come back. We don't have to do everything in one chunk. We have to be balanced in our lives and in our goals right now, okay? Let's see. So another thing, I've been getting very pivotal energy. Like the energy of this season is pivot, a new direction. Aries is a sense of newness. It's a sense of vitality and being alive. And I feel like a lot of us have been so hyper fixated in survival, or so focused on one thing, or only believing that something can happen in this one way, and tirelessly working in that direction to no avail. And sometimes that is a sign to reconnect with your joy, to inject your work with joy. I'm hearing, and this is a stage that I'm in my entrepreneurship. Like, I'm not doing anything for money right now, because I just need to connect to my passion, and I need to connect to the alive feeling that I get when I do this. Like, if you guys want to book a reading, I'm available, but I'm not trying to sell anyone anything right now. I'm just giving just to give, and I'm showing up in the creative capacity that makes me feel alive. The money will come. The money will come. I know that, and I trust that. Let's see. Feel the call to action and thoughtfully respond. So this is like going back to the spiritual mastery, right? Spiritual mastery isn't just about being like, a monk, very stoic, very demure, very mindful, right? It's about authenticity. And Aries is a self-assured sign. It's a sign in its highest expression that is confident, that knows what it wants. It's a go-getter. It spearheads and trailblazes and initiates, new paths. It forges new paths for others to follow. And you might be the first of your kind to do something, and you might have gotten signs over the years, people complimenting you, people affirming you, hey, you're really good at this. Maybe people have paid you to do it in the past. And you have a certain style and flair and air to the way that you do something that really sets you apart and makes you unique. And there are going to be other people who are meant to see that and come up under that brand. Okay, so this is an energy that, like, I'm hearing people need to see what we're doing. We can no longer hide in the shadows and in the darkness and not want to be perceived by people and not want to be seen by people, okay? We really need to be putting ourselves out there. Okay, the challenge. Accidents increase when you are in a hurry, rushing through a project, or impatiently distracted. This flammable temperament can spark inspiration or spark conflagration. What the hell? Excuse me. Proceed with caution. Aries marks the beginning of spring in the northern hemisphere after a long, dark winter. The dead landscape comes alive. So after this retrograde, we're going to have like a sense of renewal. We're going to have a new sense of self. And we're going to really have opportunities to step into that. So we really need to be processing all of these subconscious things, these lack mindsets, and oh, well, I have to go about this way, and the only way this is going to happen for me is if it happens like this. Be open to new ways of thinking and perceiving. Okay, let's move on to the Mars card. Mars, motion. Mars, a mythological god of war, the traditional ruler of Aries in Scorpio, speaks of independence, enterprise, and willfulness. aggression, passion, and defenses, including your body's defenses, such as your immune system. I've been hearing that there's like a bunch of like, there's like a different type of flu or something. People have been talking about it. Take your vitamin C. If you like, just take care of yourself. Take care of your physical body. Okay. If you are into like sports, riding bikes or anything like that, rock climbing, wear a helmet. Protect your head. Make sure that if your kids are entering into football this year, make sure that their helmet is protecting their neck. That was very random, but very appropriate. Jesus, I need some water. Wait a minute. All right. Okay. Mars takes 1.9 Earth years to go around the zodiac. So your terrible twos, when you learn to say no and yes and demand things, was the expression of your first Mars return. Action. Mars urges you to take action, any action. But this can get you into trouble. Jump into motion, but stay in the driver's seat and think through the consequences of your moves. So I actually just did a video on my TikTok about the Page of Wands and how the page can represent someone who is really young. The Page of Wands represents someone who's really young, or someone who is older but in touch with their youthful side, or someone who's older and immature, or someone who's younger and very immature. Fire is an energy that needs to be controlled. When fire is controlled, it helps you. You can heat your food, you can weld and do all types of really great stuff. We see people doing fire tricks all the time, but that fire is a limited amount. They're not playing with it all the time. They have experience with it. They know what they're doing. When you're cooking something, you keep the flame at an appropriate level so that it doesn't burn your food. When you're doing a bonfire, okay, that's controlled. That's a controlled use of that element. Now, we've seen fire when it's out of control. It's belligerent. It burns everything in its path. So we're learning to trust our instincts, but to also be very mindful of the consequences and the implications of our actions and our words toward ourselves and towards others. Okay. Mars is a raw energy, and like the motor of a fine sports car, it can take you far if you add wisdom and guidance, right? Mars wants you to develop your strength and bravery, so work out, develop muscles, or rescue the proverbial underdog. Boldly go where you have not gone before and passionately dive into life. Mars loans you the competitive edge to obtain a fiercely desired goal and teaches that for your yes to truly mean yes, your no needs to be respected. And on that note, it's kind of like reminding me of, we're in this season of isolation right now, or, some of us may be single. We don't have a lot of wiggle room. And Aries and Libra are opposite each other, right, on the zodiac wheel. So it's a balance between ourself and us in community and in relationship with other people. In order to show up in an evolved manner in a connection, you have to have a little bit of self-resolve and a backbone. You got to be able to say yes clearly. You got to be able to say no clearly. Okay. We're at 29 minutes now. Let's move to the challenge. Domineering willfulness, misuse of sexuality, anger, belligerence, and a warlike mentality are the shadow sides of Mars. Break the momentum if your situation heads downhill. Stop for a moment and think through your next move. The gift. The higher note of Mars energy is manifest as a divine guardian, your potent inner first responder who is ready to be the hero in a dangerous situation and protect you and yours. I think that also, like, I'm hearing a lot about instinct. You know, there's a difference between, I think, an instinct and an impulse. And am I going to open my computer and Google? No, not right now because my cards are on it. But we have to understand the difference between instinct and impulse. And we need to gain a little bit of control over our impulses. The way that we initially respond to something based on habits and cycles from previous experiences and our overall life experience, we need to kind of gain a little bit better control and temperament over that. I feel like this reading is kind of gearing us up for the shift of Saturn entering into Aries. Because we're going to be building a completely new self-concept. And in order to do that, we have to examine the subconscious in Pisces. And so that we know what's going on there and we can move forward with a level of discernment. We need to address avoidant behaviors and passivity and victimhood and mentality, so that when the time does come or an opportunity does come, we reach out and grab it instead of Jesus. Instead of playing small and second guessing ourselves. Okay, the next card is Vesta. Vesta. Series Chiron. $32. No. Oh, 80. Okay. God damn, there's like some in my throat. Sorry, y'all. My goodness. All right, Vesta. Here we go. Okay, Vesta calls you to be a hearth fire. So you have to share yourself for the benefit of all, but still have enough energy left to live healthily and give again another day. Excuse me. The second largest and brightest asteroid between Jupiter and Mars was named after Vesta, the goddess of hearth, home, and the family, in the center of a strong community. The fire in her temple was never allowed to go out, and the fire in the hearth of every home was sacred to her. She did not get involved in politics or the misadventures of the other gods. Action. Evaluate yourself in your life. Each human's task is to help reduce the total suffering on earth and increase the total joy. Your joy and suffering matter as much, neither more nor less than anyone else's. Do not burn yourself up for another's cause, nor withhold your warmth, but share what you have to offer. So this is kind of about, having a strong sense of self and knowing where you end and another person begins. Being aware of what you have to give and what, kind of like an energy budget. Like, yes, Mars is full of vitality, but where is that energy going? We have to be a little bit more discerning with our energy. We're being encouraged to kind of toughen up and stand on business, but don't still maintain your sense of warmth and humanity and gentleness about yourself. Okay, let that fire burn in your heart and not burn up your heart. You know what I mean? This is not a situation where you need to take sides. Come back to the center, to the flame, to your hearth and your core values. Focus on that center flame instead of the personalities involved. Remember what matters. Find that deep calm within. Light a candle with a prayer and use it to bring your focus to the center and let the rest fall away. Then decide, advise, and operate from there. I'm also hearing like you can support people, but don't become over involved in their situations. Like, just because you might have it to give also doesn't mean that you should give it. You don't give your last to people unless Spirit specifically puts it on your heart to do that. And don't be so quick to jump in and save everybody all the time, you know, because sometimes people will take advantage of that. And sometimes people really need to, like I mentioned before, you know, go through a season of isolation so that they can learn to rely on themselves and figure things out for themselves. Why all of a sudden I got something in my throat when I'm trying to do a reading? Let's look at Chiron. And then I'm probably going to wrap it because I'm not going to be sitting on here coughing and having y'all listen to me coughing for an hour. Okay, Chiron, heal. Chiron is often referred to as the wounded healer archetype, named after a mythological wise centaur who trained heroes and was accidentally wounded by Hercules with a poisoned arrow. Though he could not completely heal his own pain, he learned so much about medicine that he started a healing temple. This asteroid points to where your own painful experiences give you training and how you can use that understanding to help others. This asteroid has a 50-year orbit between the traditional visible planets and the more metaphysical transformative realms symbolized by the outer planets. Jesus, find purpose in your problems. Do not over-identify with your circumstances, was a lesson that I was learning last year. Hard-earned wisdom is now relevant and needed. So everything, Mars can symbolize like some of the pain that we go through too. It's like our pain tolerance, the challenges and stuff that make us stronger. And one thing that I've been learning through my own retrograde experience is that everything that I don't prefer is an opportunity for me in some way. Like, if you stop looking at your problems like you're the victim of them and start looking at them like you are the student of them, then you can really get so much more out of anything that you go through. There's so many little nuggets in every challenge, and it's kind of just like a video game. You going around through a level, you're navigating, you're fighting these little monsters and stuff, and you're collecting these little gold coins, these little wisdom nuggets. Okay, so if we don't over-identify with our pain and we don't allow our problems to overtake us and sweep over us like a giant tidal wave, we can remain objective in our perspective throughout a challenge or a difficult situation or something we don't prefer. There is so much wisdom to be gained through that, and that is why everyone goes through trials and tribulations, so that we have the wisdom and the testimony to speak on something and help somebody. You don't have to assign causality, I think. You may never know why you went through a difficult time, but you can put what you learned from it to good use. Even if you never quite heal in this place of karmic tenderness, you have the wisdom to pass on once you metabolize the information. So this is why, another reason why it's so important for us to integrate these lessons that we've been learning. Because once we metabolize the information, we can make use out of the pain. The pain can inform how we show up in a more, with more discernment, with more understanding, with more objectivity and wisdom, okay? The situation may feel familiar, but if you can't remember a story to go with it, it may be left over from a past life, a chapter review of what your soul already knows. If an old pain, if an old pain is triggered, have compassion for yourself. You are more than your troubles. You know the route though, and now it's time to practice what you know. Once you have a solution, add it to your toolkit. If this solution stretches and tests you, or if this situation stretches and tests you, take it as training for the hero within. What you are learning now can be your secret sauce in the future. Challenge. The situation can set off touchy memories or poke you where it still hurts. Shrapnel can hurt as much coming out as it does going in. Take this opportunity to heal so those old places can transform. Allow the pain and troubles of the past to become the wisdom and compassion of the present moment. So I'm also hearing on that wisdom and compassion note, we got to have more of that for each other. You know, even if it's a person who has wronged you or trespassed against you, who has done you some type of dirt, that does not mean access. We all know it's all over the internet. Forgiveness don't mean access. It don't mean reconciliation, but it can heal the posture of your heart if you can have compassion, for other people. I said the posture of your heart. Some heartbreak. A disconnect from the intuition. Knight of Swords, kind of rushing into things, being frantic, or charging forward. But if you're trying to charge forward and you're heartbroken, this is why things are on a pause right now. This is why things seem to be moving a little slowly, because there's some things that we need to address. We're trying to charge forward in something, and we're trying to take the action, like it said with Aries, but we need to take informed action. We cannot take haphazard, ignorant, rushed action, okay? We need to be thoughtful in our process, mindful in our behavior, and objective in our perception. We need to be connected to our intuition and integrated between our light and our shadow, so that we can acknowledge, hey, you know, my shadow is being triggered by this, or there's something that I've repressed that is useful to me in this situation. Chiron is about deep healing, and a lot of that is painful, and it involves a level of shadow work. And for you to truly embody High Priestess energy here, you have to be able to be connected to all parts of yourself. You have to know what's in the basement, but you also need to know what's up on the top floor. You have to be willing to venture into all parts of your soul, you know, and be informed about the experiences of your past that you may be, that you're not carrying with grace. And it's affecting how you're looking at situations, you're over-identifying, you're over-intellectualizing your feelings, or you're not expressing yourself creatively. Like I'm getting the sense that we're all having these different struggles, right? And it's because there's a level of shadow work that needs to be done so that we can integrate the things that we've repressed, so that we can call it out and say, this is triggering my shadow, and my shadow wants to respond. However, I'm going to respond from a higher place. I used to argue with this person all the time, and I used to be brash and ignorant and rude, but now I'm going to be very thoughtful about my response, and I'm going to take my time, and I'm going to respond with dignity and grace and a little bit of respect about myself and for the people around me. So this energy is giving very demure, very mindful. I like that. It makes me happy. But it's giving, you know, take action. Yes, seize the day, but have self-control. Address your problems so that when you are in a situation, you don't bring negative karma onto yourself because you want to react from impulse instead of like a healthy instinct. We have to work on the traumas and the past issues that are triggered when we are in this moment. Because if we don't work on those things, those are going to influence how we show up, how we experience, and what we have access to. That's all. That's all. It's giving grow up. It's giving grow up. And if anybody can tell you that, it's Saturn. Grow up. For me too. Because Lord knows, I don't like arguing with my baby daddy, but that man, I have given him the power to make me a level of upset that no one deserves to have. So yeah, that's it. That's it. That's all. Until next time, I love you guys and take care of yourselves.